Hello, everyone, and welcome to Epic Sketch Time. Epic Sketch Time is a weekly drawing group. We've been doing this for about 6 or 7 years now. We meet once a week. Check in the description below to sign up. And hang on, we got someone coming in. And as we do every week, I'm going to ask people to introduce themselves, quickly show us your face or your artwork, and say your name, where your work, where you are, and what you're working on. So I'm Mark Monlux. I'm in Tacoma, Washington, and today I'm going to be working on, I swear to God, this is the last time I'm working on it, the Tacoma Artist Initiative project, which is a jigsaw puzzle piece.
Okay.
Katie, what are you going to be working on?
Hi, I am Katie C, and I am going to be working on a lovely smash up of a Persian tortoiseshell cat and a metal artist named King Diamond. And this is for a friend's birthday.
Hi, I'm Bill Morse. I'm a freelance illustrator and cartoonist in Seattle, Washington. And right now I'm working on some clip art and some Instagram fodder. I've been doing a handful of the assorted national days. And the next one on my list is National Kiss a Ginger Day.
Okay. Hello. My name is Russ. I'm from Spokane, working on a personal animation project. Thanks.
Tal, it's this group's policy that you show us your face so that we can confirm that you're not a minor, that you're over 18, because otherwise we're going to have to bump you from the group. So please do so. Oh, awesome.
How's everyone? My name is Stowe. I'm not an artist. I take classes here and there, and this is my first time with this Eventbrite class, and I'm looking forward and I'm excited.
Okay. Thank you, Tal.
Sure.
So what we do is we each work on our own projects. As you can see, Roger's working on an animation project. Katie's working on a painting. Both Bill and I are working on Procreate tablets, and we sometimes will share tips or tricks. But this is basically a gab session where we talk about, sometimes we talk about layout, or we ask each other, okay, how can I do this? That type of thing. So it's very much an onus on you to ask us questions.
Okay, good. I mean, I'll learn through other people asking their questions.
So Bill, I'm going to open up the screen share function. Why don't you give us a quick look at what you're working on?
Okay, let's see. Well, essentially I was finishing this, as I said, I was finishing the this piece of strip art, and I got the pose of I was having trouble with the final pose at the end, and so I was redoing it in Procreate.
So were you using a poser for that?
No, that's a 3D model. Clip Studio Paint has 3D models that come with it. And so every now and again, if I'm really having trouble with the pose, you can do the pose in Clip Studio Paint.
So we have someone new coming into the group.
And then here is the redo that I'm working on right now. And then after that, I'll start working on that Kiss a Ginger Day one.
So we have someone new to the group, and McCuen, if you would be so kind as to briefly show us your face to confirm that you're over 18, that would be terrific. Otherwise, we'll have to boot you. Ah, awesome. Thank you so very much, sir.
I'm more than 18.
Yes.
So much more. Yeah, I'm from Singapore.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow. What time is it in Singapore?
8:30 a.m.
Oh, you just got up. Well, I'm kind of curious what you're having for breakfast.
Oh, all sorts, depends. You like noodles, you like dim sum, or you like toast, whatever.
Very
You can
nice.
have all sorts.
So I am working on, let me do a screen share. This is my Tacoma Artist Initiative project, which is going to be a jigsaw puzzle. And it's got a bunch of found objects in it. Let me go in. This is done inside Procreate. And let me see if I can find it. I started putting the little clickers on it. So this is the image so far.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty much done. All I'm doing is there are two little windows here that I need to fill up with some images. And then there are some areas like you see where there's this blue anti-aliasing. And you'll notice that there's this little bit of weird gray. The gray is not functioning really well right there.
Yeah.
So I need to go in and just comb over this entire image. And I think I've found everything. And I have to decide, I've got a little bit of a blue anti-alias going on around the outside of this painting. And I got to decide if I'm going to just live with that or not, or spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes fixing it. Right now, I'm okay working with it. But I got that little square right there I need to fix. So I'm just doing little fix-it things right now. The way this image is constructed is these are all the color fills. I've been adding in, I still have this one background image. I haven't gotten confirmation from the artist to use her artwork, and until I do, I can't lock it in. And then I added the lines, and then I added all the shading and shadows. And I'm trying to decide if I should go in with any white highlights, but right now I'm thinking I don't need to do any white highlights. I like it just as it is. And there's lots of hidden objects. There, for example, here's a pineapple. And there's a strawberry. Oh, but you'll notice right here, I got that right in that strawberry. There's a weird little black line. And I'm pretty sure I need to, I think that's the line element. And here in the shadow, you can see where the shadow's not perfect. So like I said, just little tweaks of cleaning things up to make it, you know, no one else would notice it, but it bugs the hell out of me. So. Stop my share. Katie, I'm kind of curious, have you pre-selected what paints you're going to be using for your canvas?
No. I do have a I put kind of like an idea board together, like of the different looks of King Diamond, and then some different cat looks. And then I knew the theme in the background was going to be purple, but I wasn't really sure what it was going to look like when I put it on the canvas. And then I accidentally did the yellow kind of blue glow around the back, but I kind of like it, so I think I'm going to keep it.
I like the glow around the background.
Yeah, so I think he's going to be a lot of fun when I get done. But no, I did not. That's that's the next level. That'll be the next painting. It's picking the palette.
Mm.
What I did for this one was I pre-selected a palette that I called my Mermaid Palette. Has a lot of nice colors, a lot of them on the cool side with a few warms, and thought that would be the way to go, because I knew my skin tones would be fairly warm and that I'd have a lot of neutrals. So I wanted the warmth to kind of just pop up a little bit. And I kind of went with a warm gray tone rather than a cool gray tone. At least I tried to. But somehow someone else might look at it and say, "No, you didn't do that." What are you talking about? But that made coloring a lot easier because I was just able to rapidly plunk things down, one right after the other. Now, have you ever watched Bob Ross on PBS?
Mm-hmm.
One of his old shows?
Yes.
Bob Ross uses only 6 colors in his paintings. Only 6 tubes of paint. And he does that consistently. It was something that he set up ahead of time so that he didn't want a person just starting out to be flummoxed by all these paint choices. He wanted to show people how with just this particular palette, they could do just fine. I thought that was a great idea he had. Bill, do you have a color palette that you use for your webcomic?
No, but I've been trying to get better at doing that. I made a palette for the Christmas Story, for example. And but again, I've been trying to get better at doing that and taking advantage of that function in Procreate.
So I learned, was it here that we were talking about how to, or was it on Freelance Fandango that we were talking about how to copy and move layers? I think it was here. And I was kind of curious. You can copy multiple layers in Procreate and then go and paste them into another file. But I was finding when I did that, that every layer I had that was a text layer would convert over to a graphic layer, and I couldn't edit the text then. And I was wondering if anyone else has faced that situation. Well, I guess not. I guess I'm
No.
out of luck. Over the weekend, I watched an old science fiction film that came out quite a while ago called Jupiter Ascending. Has anyone else here seen it?
I know of it. I generally hear it generally sounds like it's punchlines for jokes.
I was going to say, unfortunately, yes, I have seen this. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's a nice way to say it. Punchlines for jokes. I was surprised. The cast and the director. I was really surprised that the movie that came out of that was the movie. The product didn't seem like it fit the people who created it. Like, but if you look at it really silly, I think Eddie Redmayne? Wasn't he the villain? Or am I thinking a different movie? Am I on the wrong movie?
Oh, okay, now you got me going to Google to see who Eddie Redmayne is.
He played the Danish girl.
Oh yes, Eddie Redmayne. Yes, he did play the villain. He played multiple parts. He was multiple villains in that.
So I think if I had known what I was going into, like, I think I would have went into it with a lot more fun and open-minded. But I was kind of like, what am I watching?
I didn't expect to have basically a sci-fi opera equivalent of Twilight.
That's a good way to put it.
But there certainly was, the actress had more of a facial range.
Yes.
But my wife thinks that the gal who was in Twilight has just one expression. So.
I watched a silly movie. Like, I can't even get the title right. It was something Tim wanted to watch, and I was like, oh, okay. I ended up checking my phone quite a bit. It was the hit man's wife's bodyguard. Yes.
Well, did you see the original, The Hitman's Bodyguard?
But we watched the trailer, so I kind of knew what was happening.
Oh, well, I haven't seen The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard yet, but I really enjoyed The Hitman's Bodyguard, and I gave that like a solid 7, just because it was fun and larkish, and you kind of knew that going in, and they really played that off. So I guess they were just trying that milk that for a sequel, and it didn't quite work.
Possibly. Like, I was kind of like, it wasn't as great as I thought it would be better than that. With the cast that was given, I assumed that it would be better than what it was.
Much like the Ryan Reynolds and The Rock together in, what was that? Action heist movie adventure. Red Notice?
Oh, I know which. Yes.
Yep.
Now, if you haven't seen it, there was a movie that Ryan Reynolds did before his career really started taking off, called Voices.
Yes,
And
yes, I have seen that.
now see, I thought Voices was pretty good.
It was a little,
I liked the talking pets, you know.
it was a little messed up, just a little.
I liked how the cat was particularly, a bit of an asshole.
I don't think I've ever heard of that one, but it's reminding me of what looked like an absolutely terrible movie about talking animals at a zoo.
Talking animals at a... Okay, Bill, you're going to have to narrow that down, because that could be an animated film, or that could be Dr. Dolittle.
It wasn't Dr. Dolittle, and Dr. Dolittle didn't take place in a zoo. It was recent. It was fairly good CGI for the talking animals, but it was some relatively popular comedian playing a new zookeeper, and as I said, all I saw was the trailer.
So I'm looking at the scene I'm drawing is in Tolson's Plaza. And I'm now looking, there's a large statue in the background. And I'm realizing, oof, I got some details wrong on her. Oh, did you find what the movie was?
Yes, a 2011 film called Zookeeper. And it only got 14 on Rotten. The comedian I was thinking of was Kevin James, and it looks like it was as bad as the trailer made me think it was. Rotten Tomatoes gave it 14.
So I promised the artist that did the statue that I would send him what this statue would look like after I was done drawing it, so that he could have make a comment. And I'm noticing that her arms have either been painted black or have gone really dark for some reason. But originally, her arms were skin tone like her legs and her face. So I think I'm just going to leave her how like that, because that's how I have her drawn initially. She does have this interesting design on her skirt. So I'll just try to emulate it a little bit. Looks like it's a raven motif. My brothers and I used to carve totem poles. And they actually went up to British Columbia and learned from a totem pole master how to design and carve totem poles. The fellow was working at the what's the museum up there? It's the
British,
Nat-
the one in
Natural-
Vancouver, or the the Anthropology University Museum in Vancouver.
this was the one in
Victoria.
Victoria, so I think it's
Right.
the natural history one. They had a program like that back in the 70s.
Yeah, I definitely want to get back to the one in Vancouver. It's a museum, but it's also a research library. So it has, along with all the stuff they have on display, they have some absolutely amazing archives that are open to everybody if you are looking for anything specific.
The in Tacoma, there's a building called the Northwest Room, and it is an archive on everything Northwest, everything from the Union movement to just phenomenal amounts of stuff. It's where I was able to find a home for the archive for the Society of Professional Graphic Artists, which was a group that had been around for several years, and then became a subchapter of the Graphic Artists Guild. That was very nice. And shortly after I donated the materials and went down there, was helping them out with it, COVID came along. So those things probably haven't had a chance to be looked at, because I know that the guy who accepted them has since retired. So there's a bunch of boxes just sitting there. Waiting to be thoroughly cataloged. But I went down there at one time because I wanted to see what some old 1930s labor union art. I wanted to emulate some.
Oh, cool.
And they had a huge supply because there were several unions in Tacoma. And I got into reading their newsletters and their history. And there were union riots in Tacoma that nobody talks about anymore, and they were terrible. Just there at one point, the union headquarters, the people inside had barricaded the doors with all the office furniture to keep the mobs from coming in.
Yeah, I think I read a bit about that. The Mohi Museum in Seattle had some fairly good stuff on that, or at least the movement in general. They were mostly focused, most of their stuff is specifically focusing on Seattle, though.
I'm really relying on the locked layers feature in Procreate to keep me out of trouble these days.
Oh, is that a new one? I've been trying to get better at locking it.
No,
Oh.
It's just the lock layer feature.
Oh, right. Yeah, same here. The hardest part is to remember to relock a layer when you go up to edit it. Mm.
So a friend showed me a really nice quick trick in Procreate. I like to get to a black, and I like to use a solid black often.
Yeah.
But rather than clicking around and throwing all the controls, moving all the knobs, like 4 knobs over on the color to get a solid black or trying to figure out where it is. If you go into the disk selection for color,
Right.
and you go down to the bottom left-hand corner and you just double tap, it will automatically go in to that corner there. As a matter of fact, all 4 of those corners on the inside of that ring, if you do a double tap, it'll center in specifically onto the most saturation of that color. And the
Okay.
lower left happens to be the one for black, and that just helps me out so much.
Oh, usually I just go to the square and drag it down to the corner.
I got a lot of different squares of blacks though, and I sometimes get them confused if I do it that way.
Oh, one fun thing, have I shown you all my my Discworld series?
No, I don't think you have, Bill.
Yeah, I just started my latest kind of sort of sketch challenge, and because certain people have insinuated that I've been overdoing it with the Song of Ice and Fire, I decided to go switch over to Terry Pratchett for a while.
Now, haven't you done some? Oh, the very nice, Bill. The screen is still on me. Why don't you say something so the camera goes to you?
Something so the camera goes to me. And as I said, so far I'm mostly happy with it. And for today's, I think this one's my favorite composition so far.
A little closer to the screen.
They're a
please.
little closer to the stream. Though I think I botched the perspective on the floor a little bit.
Hmm.
And so far it's coming along nicely.
Looks good. Yeah, you had what, over 100 of the Fire and Ice series?
Yes, yes, considerably more.
So one of the movies that's playing at the Grand Cinemas, I mentioned this because there's a bunch of Tacoma artists that do movie posters for the Grand Cinemas just for fun. And we sell our prints inside the lobby there. And if you want to do a fun thing with the community, seek out your local small independent movie theater operation and say, hey, what do you think about us doing movie posters and selling them in your lobby? And that way we both have something to promote on the online. You might get a nice favorable response like we did.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that, though my number one candidate, I'm not sure if it has a big enough lobby.
Well, if not the lobby, then maybe in front at the movie screen before the movie starts,
Mm-hmm.
if they've got space up there. Because there's another theater called the Blue Mouse, and rather than the lobby is really small, so and not really structured up for a table to be anywhere. You know, the Grand is also small, but at least there's a place where you can put a table.
Yeah, because I've been thinking about that as a possibility for Cartoonist Northwest, though I've been kind of pessimistic about how, beyond all the other theories, I've been kind of pessimistic about how many takers I'd have with it.
What before I even reached out to the movie theater folks here, I queried my group of friends, and I had 4 people lined up saying, yeah, if you can make that happen, that would be fun. I'd like to be part of that. So maybe you just need to reach out to the group and see if one of the things, what I'll do, Bill, is I'll send you sort of like the illustrator's agreement that we created sort of like a little private Facebook group
Mm-hmm.
where the movie theater could let us know about what movies were coming up, and where we could post the artwork and have a discussion about it. But it was also a place where we could post the logos that need to be incorporated, and where we would post our agreement. It's sort of like movie theater will get, like 5 free posters, but the movie theater won't hand them all out on the same night as something free. So where the artist could be situated, how far in advance the theater should be attempting to let the artist in on when things are coming in. Because it's amazing how sometimes they just don't know very far in advance, because the way it works is there are different deals to be had depending on the overall trends. It also lets the artist know that, okay, they're going to get a table like this set up for them. It's going to be at least 6 feet wide,
Mm-hmm.
not a card table. That when they should come in and set up before the movie. Type of just a clear rundown of the type of interaction on both parties,
Right.
so that nothing's left up in the air. And then what I did was I ran that past the artist. I wrote this all up before I went to the movie theater people, because I knew that I needed to give the artist some boundaries, not just say, oh yeah. Like if you say that you're going to do a piece of a poster, well, you're going to have to sell the poster. You're going to have to show up that night to actually do it, because the theater's not going to do it for you.
Right.
So that's been the biggest part with us, is part of it is the scheduling. And then we had to come up with a system where we determine who gets what poster, because artists aren't going to work on a poster they don't want. You can't tell them, oh, you're stuck drawing this poster. But you don't want to have the same person doing all the posters.
No, definitely. That's my biggest concern.
Oh, I'm not liking this. I drew something. But it's not going where I cut and I pasted it. And what I don't like about Procreate is that it will not paste the item right where you had it.
Right.
It will paste it like in the middle of your image. And
Yeah,
if it's a
like-
small image, if it's a small item in a big image, hunting for it's a real pain in the butt.
Yeah, I always had that problem with Photoshop too. One thing I really love about Clip Studio Paint is it cuts and pastes exactly where it is, which comes in very handy if you're moving a image from one document to the other, provided that document is the exact same size.
Ditto with Illustrator. They have, matter of fact, their cut and paste. If you just cut and paste it, it will put it right in the middle of the image. But if you do a Command F or a Command D, which means paste in front or paste in back, it will put it in the exact location, but in the front or in the back. And that was extremely useful.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of my timers going off. So I have a couple friends in this image, and they're sitting at a booth. I got a couple pieces of artwork in front of them, but he couldn't find a piece of artwork to send me because most of his art is mashups, and the Tacoma artists, the city of Tacoma is very firm about, oh no, you don't have any mashups. We can't risk any type of liability whatsoever, even if it's relatively safe. I said, okay.
Is that Russ or
Yeah, that's Russ.
okay.
And so I'm thought, what can I put? What would be fun to put inside these two frames? And they recently had two pets die on them, and I thought, oh, I'll draw pictures of their dogs and put them in there. But I'm having to kind of guess what their dogs look like. I just know that they're like little Chihuahua mixes. Because they didn't post any photos of them. They got some other dogs too, so unless I know exactly which one is which. So I'll just draw some generic Chihuahuas.
Okay.
And at least my intent was nice, if not accurate. I mean, it's just a cartoon, right? So. Katie, you've done a lot of pet portraits. I've done some in the past. Most people are pretty forgiving about how you draw their pets, aren't they? At least I found that to be the case.
I think so. Well, and especially since most of what I've done is for free, so they tend to be grateful that I did it at all. Yeah, I'm telling you, these a calico cat is not your friend.
No.
to draw. These things are crazy. Like trying to get the color right is insane because they have orange, red, white, gray, brown, and it's like no matter how you try to paint them, it looks like you're totally messing up.
Oh, I know exactly what you are talking about. I have a friend I was house sitting for last week. One of the pets that I was taking care of is a calico named Sono, and her well, actually not, I don't think she's technically calico. It's sort of that coloring I generally call carpetbag.
You mean brindle, where there's multiple little bits of color?
Yeah.
Okay, that's called brindling.
I always thought brindling was more of stripes.
It can be striped, but it can also be a spotty pattern.
Yeah, but anyway, amongst other things that I've been wanting to do, where is it? Do a her for one of my animal stickers, and it was pretty tough to get right because she has this kind of half face look where I've yet to get that right. I can show you as soon as I find it. I can show you what I mean. Come on, where are you? Ah. So essentially, I absolutely love to dominate the computer look, but I could never get her face right.
Oh, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
What a nice looking cat.
Yeah, isn't she?
Tortoiseshell. Yeah, it's got a nice tortoiseshell look to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then you, with this one I'm doing, the smushy face of a Persian, it's like, good Lord.
Yeah.
The book cover for the actual cat is not even the cat that he describes in the book, because doing a tortoiseshell Persian is such a pain in the butt. I'm sure his graphic designer was like, yeah, you want me to paint that? You're gonna need to give me a little more money.
Yeah, just make it a white cat, or better yet, a black and white cat. Black and white cats are the easiest cats to paint.
Yeah, I think the cat they ended up doing for the covers, it's more of the just more of a stereotypical Persian. Um, so I think that's why, even though like when you read the book, it describes the cat as the actual one, but I think I had mentioned I did a piece. I actually did this cat for my brother-in-law because he loves this book series so much. So I'm sure I'm not the only person who's done fan art for it, but I don't necessarily need to do fan art again. That's for sure.
Mhm.
But I'm trying to make it look like there's some depth without but that wasn't even what you asked me. I think most people are forgiving about their pets, unless you just really mess it up. But you know, like if you were to describe my girls, I would describe my girls as Chihuahua mixes.
Mhm.
But my girls actually look like, you know, they're like little Frankenweenie dogs. They've got a little bit of Jack Russell, a lot of Chihuahua. One of them, she expresses a lot more Pekingese in her face than the other one, even though they have the same mom and dad. But I wouldn't be mad at anybody if they tried to make a nice picture.
And since we're getting close to the countdown, let me show you how far I've gotten on what I was talking about. I'm probably a little bit of cleanup in color, and I'm pretty happy with it.
Bill, the only thing I would change is you got those lines on the park bench,
Yes.
and I would separate those lines on another layer and knock them back into a darker color rather than black and white,
Okay.
because that way it won't distract. It looks like you're still working on the loop rail on the left-hand side.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but in progress, it looks great. I might move the dog down or increase the dog's size just a little bit. Move him down so that his ear isn't completely tangent, where everything is. You got four lines forming almost like an X-like tangent where that ear is, and it's overdrawing the eyes and it's looking a little clumsy.
Okay, I see it.
Cool. So I would just grab the whole dog and move him down, maybe like more about half the shoe, the front of the shoe of her shoe down, just a notch, maybe like the size of the dog's paw. Move it down, and get it close to the foot. There we go. Maybe just a little farther up. Yeah, like that.
Cool.
So what, is anyone listening to audiobooks right now?
Yeah, I'm listening to one called Iron Widow by a author named Zhang J. Zhao.
And what's the genre?
Science fiction. She's essentially rewriting she's doing a version of the biography of the only female empress of China in the form of a mecha series. In her write-up, she describes it as a cross between Pacific Rim and The Handmaid's Tale.
My stepdaughter's reading this. She's actually reading the books.
Oh, cool.
Because she used that description.
Yeah, I wanted to check it out because I've been following the author's YouTube channel where she comments on a lot of Asian culture things. And so far, I'm pretty pleased with it. I'm halfway through. And then I was also listening to A Beautiful Mind and The Poetic Eddas.
I'm currently listening to this sort of like, the way my wife described it to me was Harry Potter meets the Hunger Games. It's sort of like a deadly wizarding school, and it's called A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. And
familiar.
And I read the first book, and I'm now listening to the second one, which is called The Last Graduate. And just absolute fun. Just a lot of fluffy fun.
I believe I know of the author. At least I've seen her name around.
And I just got through finishing a 3-book series by V.E. Schwab called the Shades of Magic series. And I enjoyed that quite a bit too. And I'm trying to find, been listening to a variety of old Victorian mysteries. So if you find an old Victorian mystery that's in an audio book, please send it my way.
Okay, besides Doyle, I take it.
Besides Doyle. Let's see, I'm trying to find. I've been listening to a lot of, once upon a time, I did a book review of a Dick Butcher book for a webcomic called Unshelved, where they would do a book review in a cartoon format. And I did this one for Dick Butcher, and he saw it, he liked it enough. He just asked me to, do a tweak where I would get the hair color right on the characters. And I sent him a file, and he ran a big print and has it hanging in his living room.
Very cool.
I'm trying to remember this other book. The name of it was called something like The Cemetery Story or something like that.
Graveyard Book?
The Graveyard Book, that's it. That's a fun read.
Mm-hmm.
Well, folks, believe it or not, it is 5:30. You managed to waste yet another hour at Epic Sketch Time, listening to us ramble on about movies, books, and the occasional art tip. And thank you all for joining us again this year. Later on in the month of February, the Graphic Artists Guild is going to be hosting an episode of Epic Sketch Time. I'm going to let everybody know about that because we'll be using their URL for that situation.
Okay.
But we'll get a lot of people coming in for that. Thank you all for coming, and I'll see you next week.
That,
oh yeah, show us, please.
Oh, nice.
I'm not a graphic artist, but I just trying out my art after 30 years laying off. Yeah.
Oh,
My
that's
last
a-
artist.
Can you move it even closer? Because I want to take a look at the rowboat.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
that's really nice.
Yeah.
So were you using markers or watercolor to get those colors flowing?
Mixture, ink, black ink, color pencil,
Mhm.
pastel. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is really good.
It's supposed to be surrealistic, so you go around and round and round, you get lost.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That was
Right.
great.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And I hope you
Bye-bye.
guys will all join us next week. It'll be the same link. So if you're not on our email list, you don't even have to bother to subscribe to Eventbrite. Just pop in the link and we'll let you on in. See you all
Okay.
next week.
Okay.